welcome to the Business and Enterprise panel today. We're joined here by my esteemed colleagues to give you some information today about our business courses, but more importantly, to tell you how to get into the industries, what we do on our courses, and how much you'll be paid, the type of courses and jobs that the students will leave and go on to. My name is Yvonne Lane, and I am the head of school for business and enterprise here at our CBAT college. I'm joined today by Desmond Corliss, who's our CM, our curriculum leader for business, Kasim Jabbar, who's also a curriculum leader in business, Lee Kennedy, one of our lecturers here on the course, and Hamza and Janisha, who are also teachers here. We've also got some students joining us today. John Ross, I'm sure you'll be familiar with the name John Ross, John Griffin from our careers, and Shuli. But let me tell you a little bit of background about myself. So my name is Yvonne Lane, like I said. I'm the head of school for business and ICT. I worked a very, very, very long time in industry, mainly in customer service, HR, and in sales. I came into the teaching profession to share my expertise with young people, because I too was an FE student and wanted to share my skills and expertise with everybody. So that's a little bit about me. I'm going to pass over to Desmond Corliss, and just for him to give us a little bit of background about his career pathway and his dual professionalism within the course.
Well, good evening. I'm Des Corliss. I'm a curriculum manager here at CBAT on the business course. I initially started my professional career as a solicitor working in the city. I did that for about 15 years, and then I decided to join the teaching profession. I've been a teacher for the last 8 years, and I can tell you now it's one of the best professions that you could join. If you want to hear more about the legal profession, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have later on in the session.
Okay, and let's hear a little bit from Lee Kennedy.
Hi, my name is Lee Kennedy. I teach here on all of the levels, so that'll be level 1, 2, and 3. My previous background was that I worked for Royal Bank of Scotland, done internal and employee communications. Then I had my own little shop called On the Edge, which was a retail shop, and then got into teaching and a little bit of networking.
Okay, thank you, Lee. And Hamza?
Hi, my name is Hamza Hussain. I'm one of the newer teachers at City University College. I've been here for 2 years, recently qualified as a teacher, but my industry experience is mostly towards customer service and retail, with a little bit of management as well, as my degree, undergrad degree was business management.
Okay, thank you. And Janisha, last but not least.
Hi, my name is Janisha. I'm one of the new lecturers here as well. I've recently been here for just around 2 years. My industry is quite broad. I have an industry, I'm a qualified hairdresser and I own a salon, which I've had for 20 years now. I also have industry experience in managing events. I've worked with a lot of big companies, Ascot, Gray and Norton Show, and loads of things. I have a lot of industry experience in managing events, which connect to a lot of units that the students teach here that they learn. And yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, let's hear from our experts, which we have 2 on the call today. 2 of our students are here with us today. So John, I'll start with you. Tell us what drew you to the business course.
I think what drew me to the business course was the professionalism from the teachers, and that's clearly been something which has been consistent in the 2 years that I've been at City in Islington. And also, given that you've also just you've all just said your professions, given that some of you have got business professions as well, I saw that as quite a big factor in me choosing City Islington College over other colleges, because you had those business experiences before and have worked in such industries and sectors linked to business. So having that sort of experience and now teaching it to myself, who potentially could go into that one day, I saw that as a really big factor in also the teaching, but it also shows that you have real life experience, and also that real life experience probably is another good factor in terms of learning what business is about, understanding the challenges of business, how businesses work. And yeah, that sort of stuff really is what really drove me towards City Islington College, and is a reason why I've enjoyed my 2 years at City Islington.
Thank you, John. That brings me on to a question that I'd like to pose to Lee, because Lee is one of our lecturers that works very closely with our employers, and he also incorporates a lot of projects that we do here on our courses, because we like to make sure that some of the students, or all of the students really, are having a hands-on approach to their learning. So this question goes to Lee. What type of projects do we run? And what impact does it have on our learners?
Okay, so we run projects on all 3 levels. So I'll start with level 3, and then we'll go down to the other ones. So the first one would be events management, where we do an event with London Village Network and in the Business Design Centre, and all of the local businesses, both private and some of the charities, will all come there and have stalls, and we make it into a sort of event come end of year sort of party. So that is also based within curriculum. So as you're doing your work, you'll be built towards this event at the end of the year. That would be the level 3. The level 2s, we work with NCFE, and again, it's built around the curriculum, where you're going to go in and you'll be pitching to different chairmen or different people within the local community, a business pitch or idea. And then the last one would be level 1, where we're doing at the moment, we're working with the Mayor of London to make London streets better. So for example, this year they come up with the architecture of a Croydon project, which our level 1s have just got through to the finals of. So that's the sort of stuff we do.
And do we have any students that have had a real positive impact from that? Do they go into industry?
Of that, at the moment, we've got. So if you have a look behind, we have some of our partners. So far this year, I think we've had 28 students gone into some sort of employment, whether that be full-time employment or part-time employment, working with Better, Open, Allendale Motors. So yeah, it's got a positive impact that way. But also what it does is give them, when they go to university, they have an actual real life project to talk about, not something which is written down, but just actually a real life experience.
Practical and hands-on.
Yeah.
Practical and hands-on. Thank you very much, Lee. This question is going to go to one of our other students that we've got on the call, Shuli. Hello, Shuli. Welcome.
Hello, thank you.
I'm going to ask you, what's been your inspiration? What was your inspiration? What inspired you to come onto the business course?
So a lot of people in my family own businesses, and I've never really been into like maths or science. So I wanted to pursue something in business. I wanted to know how to open my own business, how to manage it, and yeah.
Okay. And tell me which part of the business industry you're interested in, because in our area, what we tend to do in our curriculum area is we have particular pathways. So we may focus on marketing, digital marketing, we may focus on law, we'll focus on finance, and we can focus on miscellaneous as well. What I mean by miscellaneous is the enterprising aspect. A lot of our students come onto our courses and say, I would like to work for myself, I would eventually want to open my own business. So which area, which umbrella, which part, which section of business are you interested in?
So I'm most interested in marketing and digital marketing, just because I like to be creative. I'm just a creative person in general. So that's the unit that I enjoy the most.
Okay, okay. And in your experience of being on the business course, what have you done practically that has enhanced your passion for marketing?
So one thing we did do is when we were hosting the LVN event, we obviously had to market this event to and promote this event to basically everyone that we know. We made posters, yeah.
And you enjoyed that? You enjoyed your LVN event?
Yeah, that was probably the highlight of the year.
And what soft skills do you think you learned from doing that event? What skills do you think you learned that you might be able to now bring into industry?
Just communication, I think, is one of the biggest things that I've taken from the event and the business course itself.
Okay. And Johnny, you've recently been on a big adventure, haven't you, as part of your business course? Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was quite an adventure. So I was fortunate to be one of 50 people who got selected, not just from this centre at CBAT, but from across the whole of Capital City College Group, to go to South Korea on a free trip for 3 weeks. So part of that trip was about exploring how business works internationally. That's also one of the units covered in the business course. So whilst I was out in South Korea, I got to see how major South Korean companies like Samsung, Hyundai, LG, all these big household names operated across the world, how they manufactured their products. And some of the highlights of going on that trip were seeing the actual factory. So I got to see the Hyundai car plant in the middle of South Korea, where they were making, there's also a big emphasis there about making ethical business, which is, I think, also another of the units covered within the course. So that was a big highlight of my trip. And I think it just goes to show as well that along in this course is if you do want to put the hard graft in the course, you will end up with some sort of result as well. And that sort of opportunities you get in terms of going to a country like South Korea, you could probably go to some, I don't know, other European country in maybe have been at school or have been at another college, but nowhere. I don't think any other college across London or wherever would ever give you that sort of opportunity to go to a country like South Korea, especially given there's no cost at all. So that for me was the highlight of probably the whole of the course. And yeah, essentially it gave me loads of skills along the way, practical life skills, along with those practical business skills you'll need in the course. And also another big skill set I learned was how to keep in contact with people internationally, because I think for anyone who obviously wants to do well in business, they need to have good international links. So keeping in close contact with those international links was also a big stepping stone, and would be a big stepping stone for anyone who would like to own their business one day. And yeah.
Exciting. You can't say that you heard it here first. You heard it here first. A very exciting expedition that you actually went on. I'd like to come back to one of our teachers now, and I'm going to ask a question about what it's like to work in the industry that they have been in, with events particularly. So Janisha, tell me what it was like to work in the industry in events.
Working in the industry is very competitive, especially when you're having a real life event. You know, I always like to say with my colleagues and people that I teach as well, you're always going to get mistakes. Things are always going to happen. Things are always going to, you might wake up in the morning and somebody's cancelled, or, you just got to know how to kind of have those right skills to manage it. You also need to have those right skills as well to work with each other as a team. Team skills is probably one of the most important skills ever, as well as managing the event, because when things do happen, you need to be able to collaborate as team workers to be able to overcome this, that your audience will have no idea. I mean, I've worked in loads of events, especially Ascot being one, where chefs have come to work and someone has taken their knives and they're like, right, we're going. You know, you've got hundreds of thousands of people turning up and the chef is saying, I want my knife. And, you know, we've had to collaborate and find, as team works, where is his knives? Because the chef's going home. And when people have worked and, you know, they've paid big money, especially like when you have days like Lady Days, you've got people coming in, all sorts, they've bought their gowns, and you really need to know that that event is going ahead. You can't, you know, say to people on a day like Ladies' Day, it's cancelled, it's not something that's possible. So that teamwork skills is one of the most important ones, I would say.
I'd like to pose the same question to Des, because Des has a law background. Could you tell us a little bit about what it's like in your experience of working in the industry of law?
The industry of law is fascinating but extremely demanding. It's probably one of the most interesting sectors that you could work in. You need to be extremely passionate about law when entering into it, because in order to get qualified, you have to, first of all, do a qualifying degree, which takes 3 years. Then you need to do a professional qualification, now the LPC, or the Solicitors Finals exams. That takes a further 1 or 2 years if you're doing it part-time. And then you need to get a training contract, which takes another 2 years to complete. So you're talking about 6 years in all. So you need to be very persistent and passionate about what you want to do. But the rewards are immense. If you get into the city practice, you could be earning upwards of £50,000 in your first year after qualification. But you need to be very resolute and strong, because the work is very demanding. And there are lots of benefits of entering the legal profession. First of all, you are going to gather a lot of skills which you could readily transfer to any other area in industry. Communication skills, problem solving skills, analytical skills. You'll learn how to negotiate. You learn how to present. You learn how to deal with difficult situations. You learn how to time manage and work under pressure. And all of those things you can do in any industry sector. So even if you didn't go into the legal profession, if you did a law degree, you will be able to get out those key skills which are highly transferable. It's a very stressful profession, but if anything that pays big money, you're going to expect to get a little bit of stress thrown in with it. But if you're passionate about the law, do go in, investigate it, talk to people, find out how they're fared, and go for it. That's my advice to you.
Thank you. And the same for Hamza. Hamza, I'd like you to touch on retail in that same way. What's it like to work in the area of retail? What's a typical basic wage that you would go in on as a young person?
So I did my retail when I was doing my undergrad and while I was at college and while I was doing my teaching degree as well. So I started with a major retailer called Curry's PC Board for 6 years while I was doing my undergrad and college, when I started college. So I learned how to, the things that I gained most was from there, from customer service and soft skills. What I learned the most from there, and how to deal with the different kinds of people. As we live in London, the demographics of people is a variety of people. So we need to understand how to communicate with different people, different ethnic origins, different religions. That's one thing that I learned during my retail career while I was there. And in terms of the wages, at my time was about £9-10 minimum wage at that time. But as you can progress through the hierarchy of different companies, you can go on to salaries. In terms of when you're a manager, you can go on to salaries, 30k and above, depending on where you're situated and where you are. So I was only a sales colleague, then I went to assistant manager while I was doing my teaching degree. And then when I got my teaching degree, I transferred those skills into my legitimate career where I am now as a teacher.
Well done, thank you. Kasim, can you tell me a little bit how you incorporate industry into our program of study? In business, we work very closely with employers, like I've mentioned before. But tell us a little bit, or tell the audience a little bit about how you incorporate your industry into the program of study, and what's been the impact of including employers in our business program.
How it basically works is pretty much we initially figure out who our partners are going to be, and we work with the employers to design assignments that will be real, where learners or students who are undertaking a course will get skills or develop skills. We sit down with different employers to actually ascertain, establish what they want learners to develop in terms of the skills and knowledge. That we then develop assignments and projects around what the employer's needs are, so that what we actually deliver to our learners is current and it's up to date. And the overall impact it has on our learners at CBAT Business, it allows them to develop key skills that are relevant and that are fresh, up to date, and meet the requirements of current employers in the industry.
Absolutely, and we do that very, very well in business. A lot of our students really enjoy our program because it's hands-on, because we work very closely with employers. They actually, like Kasima said, they're embedded into our curriculum. We have the students meeting the clients. We have, correct me if I'm not wrong, we have a breakfast club where we invite employers in. They get to speak to the students. They get to go on live projects. They get to go off-site to all the different industries and have a look at what those industry are doing in relation to whatever pathway the students are on. And this brings me to a question for our advice and careers colleague that's on the call with us. That's the other John, not the student John, but our careers John. So John, could you tell us the typical destinations for learners on our course? What do they typically come to you and say, I'd like to go into this, I'm on my final year, I would like to go into X? Where do they tend to want to go into?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Yvonne. So at the moment, the majority of students from the level 3 courses are going to university. And we've got a very strong support program alongside the business department and in careers as well, to support students to get the best quality information, advice about university, to get support with applying, get their personal statements in, and then apply and successfully move on to university. So I think at the moment it's about 2/3 go on to different universities across the country. Quite a few of our students like to stay in London to study. So that is so that's a really strong aspect of the careers work and the outcomes from business courses, that many of them do go on to university. And we've got links with universities. We arrange higher education visits. We arrange for universities to come into college to help students with personal statements. We do a lot of work ourselves as individuals supporting the students with those applications as well. Another area that's kind of growing is that apprenticeships is coming on the agenda for some of our students, and they really want to pursue that. So we're developing links with apprenticeship providers. We're developing our resources to be able to support students to apply for those apprenticeships and get them in. We know that there are some students who have already achieved really good outcomes in getting apprenticeships. There's one that has succeeded in getting an apprenticeship with Ernst & Young, a big accountancy firm. It's not an easy option, applying for apprenticeships. So, maybe it has traditionally been regarded as seen, oh, well, if I don't go to university, I can always get an apprenticeship. You do need to be persistent. You need to be good at making those applications. And that's what we're there to help our students with. So, yeah, that's a bit of a snapshot of destinations.
Do any of our students come directly to you and say, right, I don't want to do an apprenticeship, I think I'm more of a hands-on person, I'm not necessarily, don't want to necessarily follow an academic pathway and go to university. So any of our students come to you with just wanting to go directly into industry, what type of advice would you give them?
Well, I mean, we can help them with whatever option they want to go into. If they want to get a job, then that's absolutely fine. I think what we're finding now is that the government initiative at the moment, there's been a skills white paper published. There are new T levels coming online, which are boosting the qualifications that young people in college do. But what that means is that many of the sort of jobs with training that were available to young people are now packaged as apprenticeships. There are still jobs available that young people can go into and work their way up from within industry, of course, in lots of areas within business. Yeah, and it's just that we know that an apprenticeship is guaranteed training. We know that this day and age skills are really important, and apprenticeship is likely to give you a really solid background. But yeah, there will be some young people that will go into jobs. Some young people, as you say, want to start up their own businesses, and we can link them in with support for that as well.
Thank you very much, John. And John, question for you. Could you give John Ross, question for you as a student? Could you give me a little bit of an overview of a typical day at college for you? What's a typical day as a student for you on a business course?
Typical day on the business course. Well, usually, I guess for people who are coming from school, it's a bit similar. Most classes start at 9 a.m. on a weekday morning, so there's still that sort of there's still that sort of variation from school. However, the difference is that in between your lessons, you're free to do what you like. From school, you'd obviously, if in school, you'd have to obviously stay within the grounds and do what you had to. But the one difference with college is that there's so much freedom. You can do what you like. You've got a cafe inside CBAT where you can get some pretty decent cheap food and drink. I'm regularly seen outside making some noise on the table tennis tables, whether it be from excitement or frustration. But that's where I spend a lot of my time in college when I'm not in lessons. But sometimes there'd be a couple of hours in the day in between lessons where I need to go into the library. And I should also mention as well, there are 2 places within CBAT where you can do your own sort of independent work and revision. So you have your library where there's loads of resources, as well as there is another room within CBAT called the World of Work, where essentially that's essentially a room where there's a community of people who are doing their own work, and you can also gather advice from them and work with them really as to how to do the work you're doing. So I probably might spend a couple of hours a day there just catching up on stuff and attend a couple lessons in the afternoon. And then a typical college day, I'd say, after doing your own work is usually done by about 3 o'clock. So it's not that full of a day. And I'd also say the good thing about that as well is the flexible hours at college allow you to get into work straight after and allow you to have your own sort of part-time job to make sure you're earning a bit of money on the side. And also, I should mention as well with this course, it is also a requirement to do, I think it's about 70 odd hours of some sort of employment on this course. So there is a very job heavy, well, not quite job heavy, but there is a big emphasis and shift on getting people into work and also building that sort of skills in business, whether it be customer service, whether it be team building, those sort of business skills. So my first job, for example, when I was at college, was at the Taco Bell over on Holloway Road, and I started from nothing, building a skill set from nothing into customer service, team building, leadership as well, because if you manage to stick to a job for a while, you do build on those sort of skills, and you will gradually rise up within any company. So I've transferred those skills I've learned at Taco Bell, or I'm currently now at Pret as it is, but I've transferred those skills I've learned at work. They're also useful for when it comes into your study in class as well. So there's that sort of double benefit. So along with the college day being flexible, along with getting some money on the side as well, yeah, that's what a typical college day and just a typical day of a business student looks like.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very much for that, John. Very, very well said.
No problem.
Very, very well said. Julie, I've got a question for you. Do you want to tell me a little bit about what it was like for you to transition from school into college?
So for myself, I did actually used to study at college before. I was previously doing A-levels, but the transition from secondary to A-levels, it wasn't as hard as and different as I thought it would be. So obviously in secondary school, we had around like 8 periods a day. They were all about 45 minutes each. So the lessons were quite short and there was no break in between. I said the only difference that I found is just the lessons, obviously in college being a bit longer, but then again, we only have a few periods a day. It's not much at all, and we finish early. So that's one of the things that I think is most different. I think it's actually better than secondary school because in between each period also we get a break. And
what way is it different? What way is it different?
So just in terms of getting a break, to be honest, and also one thing that is also really different that I've realized myself is that in college, the teachers are much more accommodating to the students because there's a smaller class. So I've just felt that although it is a lot of independent work, it's less independent in a way that the teacher's always there to help you. Do you have one-on-ones, etc.? Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Julie. Thank you very much. I would like to ask one of my esteemed colleagues around the table now, what's a typical day in the life for you as a teacher on the business course? And I'll throw that out to Lee.
Right, so yeah, no, I don't mind. So because we teach on all different levels, it could be vast, and a typical day would be coming in for so I'll explain today. So coming in for a level 1 course, and at the moment we're coming to the end of it. So we're just getting everyone signed off, making sure that all of the work's done previously, and then just re-going over some of the skills that I've learned. So we want to make sure they had an impact for the level 1 and get them ready for level 2. With the level 2 students, again, it's going through their skills they've learned this year and preparing them. So to be honest, at this point of the year, it's preparing them for next year, wherever they'd be going. The level 3s would be obviously going to university or getting ready for work.
And talk us through the different levels of what we do on our programs, Kasim.
The different levels we
Yes,
do. So we offer Beta Level 1 Business, which is a really fun, engaging course for our learners. There are several different components of the course that they essentially learn. Teamwork, they get to contribute to running a project, working with others. The level 2 is very similar to our level 1 course. Again, there's a major focus on projects and working with employers, working with industry experts to help develop our learners further. The level 2 course, again, it's about project work, working with others, communication in business, how marketing works, doing market research. Now, level 3, obviously, since it's a larger qualification, there's a lot more focus on the different aspects or fundamentals of business. So we specialize in marketing, finance. There's also elements of law, and essentially the foundations of business, customer service. And these are just some of the elements that we have on our courses.
Excellent. And Hamza, tell us what the entry requirements are to come onto our courses.
So for the level 3, we are currently doing 2 different courses. So one is equivalent to 3 A levels and one is equivalent to 2 A levels. So the 3 levels equivalency is going to be 5 GCSEs with grade 4 and above, with maths and English included. And with the call for 2 A levels, you'd have to have 5 GCSEs again, 4 and above. However, if you have to resit either maths or English, we accommodate that in the college for the student with GCSE maths or English. So they'll have to have 1 grade 4 and above in maths and English. And in the level 2, my partner Lee teaches on that. What are the entry requirements for that one, Lee?
Yeah, so it'd be very similar to level 3s. You might not have all of the GCSEs that you require. So then we try to go through the level 2 course to actually get you ready for the level 3. So.
Hey, and Desmond, how do you feel we enhance the soft skills on our courses that we run on the business program? How do we enhance them?
Well,
get them going.
All of our courses are extremely dynamic. Students are involved in every aspect of the delivery. They work closely with the staff to improve their communication skills, their confidence, their ability to think outside the box is key. We believe that our students leave here ready to be competitive in the open market. And there's no 2 days the same in any of our business courses. The students are energetic, they are lively, they are passionate about what they do, and they fully engage with whatever program of study that they are on. And it's very important to remember that we require you to put in what you expect to get out. So if you work hard, you will achieve. And that is very important, especially in this very competitive market today.
And Julie and Johnny, I've got a question for you, which I should have asked you before. You can answer one at a time. Julie, we'll go with you first. What's your destination? Where are you heading to now that your course is coming towards its end?
So I initially did want to go to university. However, I think I have been recently looking into degree apprenticeships. So I've been looking into investment banking, maybe accounting and finance, just something along those lines, but I'm more looking towards a degree apprenticeship rather than university after I finish this course.
Okay, and you'll be going to our advice and guidance team to get some direction on where to go with that. So John will be on hand, and the rest of his colleagues will be there to help you with that. So thank you, Julie. And John, where are you tending to go?
See, I was leaning more initially towards going into an apprenticeship. However, I've seen my options, and I've probably will go to university and do a course in journalism, politics, and history, with then probably going into the journalism sector, and probably with a wish to own my own local journalism business. And I would say as well, I probably would have been swayed. I had been swayed a lot by John and also his colleague Sharon Atkins, who, for any prospective students on here, you will come across them both a lot. I was swayed a lot towards that, I'd say, given the sort of work opportunities that my prospective uni Brunel offer, and also having gained the sort of skill set here, the Brunel University where I want to go, have seemed to like the skill set that I've gained from here, and seem happy to take me on and build up my better skill set from there, and then get into my course. And yeah.
That's fantastic, John. So what's your 5-year plan?
My 5-year plan?
Yeah, it's your 5-year plan.
So my 5-year plan
that
is...
one out there at you.
My 5-year plan is, I'd say I would do 3 years at uni, and at the uni I'd want to go to, Brunel, there is a focus there of not just learning what they're doing there, but also just straight into work. So their student paper, for example, isn't just a student paper at that uni, but it's also the local paper for the borough of Hillingdon, where Brunel is based. So I wouldn't just be starting at uni there, but I'd also be straight in the thick of it and doing local journalism at the same time. And I'd probably say once I've finished my course there, those remaining 5 years of those 5 years would be to go straight into the thick of it, probably join either a local newspaper or one of the big dogs within the media and grow my career from there, hopefully.
John, you've got it all sorted out. You've really got it all sorted out. I'm here, haven't you? What about you, Julie? What's your 5-year plan?
So so I have 2 options, either a degree apprenticeship, which is about 3 to 4 years, or going to university. And I have looked at my options, and I'd want to go to either City or Brunel, or I have been looking into Greenwich and Middlesex. So I'd have to do a foundation year as well. So that would make it 4 years. After that, just go straight into the professional world, just start working. If I was in a degree apprenticeship, I would just work my way up in the company because that's all you can do. And yeah, just somehow get stable.
You've really got your head on your shoulders, both of you. You really know your destination. I'm glad that business has been the course that you've been on to take you through that journey. But what I'd like to do now is give you a little bit of an overview of the type of markets, the type of jobs and industries that our students go into, but more importantly, their starting wages. What do they get paid? We have such a So I don't know if anybody, if we can see that. I don't actually want to turn around, but typically, marketing executives 45,000. Wow, that's starting. That's starting, and we have sales managers at 40, human resources officers at 30. We've got retail managers at 28k, event managers at 30, business analysts at 42, at 50k. We have operations manager. So these are the type of industries you can go into from doing the business course. Some of these you don't necessarily have to go directly into university. Like John's actually said, you can take an apprenticeship route if you wanted to. And you've heard from Shuli, she might take a different way of going into these industries. But this is typically what your wages will look like as a young person leaving education. You'll be open to all these opportunities to embark on. So at that point, let's come to some questions. Do we have any questions in the panel? Let's make it up.
All right, interesting one there. You've asked about the legal profession, different areas you can go into. Well, apart from being a solicitor or a barrister, there are opportunities for young people to come in as paralegals, work in conjunction with law firms, and basically work very closely with a qualified solicitor to do the work of an administrative person. You can also become a legal executive who is not as qualified as a solicitor, but does similar work to a solicitor, or you could become a legal clerk. Once again, they will support a barrister in chambers, or you could become a barrister where you will do advocacy in the courtroom. So there's lots of different routes set and avenues you can go into in the legal profession. And if you're keen to investigate some more, then please feel free to do so and drop me a line. I'll be happy to help.
We all will be happy to help. And on that note, I think we've run out of our time, but this will be recorded and it will be on our website and social media channels that will be shared with you, so you can have a look at this at any time you want to. Please contact us with any questions that you have. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everybody on my panel this evening. Shuli, John Ross, John, Des, Kasim, Lee, Hamza, Janisha, thank you all so very, very much for joining me this evening.
Thank you for being
I do hope you choose City and Islington College, and please think about business and enterprising. We're waiting for you. Thank you very much.